Welcome to the real journey of the entrepreneur. The journey of any entrepreneur begins with a decision, then writing down your vision, then the execution of that vision. It is not for the faint of heart. It is for those who understand how powerful your mind is and that you can truly create the life that you deserve. It does require a unique formula that includes belief in yourself, a lot of consistency, connecting with an OG, a lot of tears, missing out on a few events and things, and taking a whole lot of risks that will allow you to see your vision and dream come to pass. This journey of the entrepreneur is from the perspective of a wonderful mother, a business owner, whose goal is to break generational barriers and normalize the process of wealth building and financial wellness through entrepreneurship, all while creating a social and give back along the way. I am sharing this journey with you and invite you to share this process with me. Let's do this together. It's my own, but you have to feel comfortable to own it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I will always support you.
Thank you.
Well, hey there, good people. We are back with another episode of The Real Journey of Entrepreneurship. My name is Anita Pierce, and I'm the founder and CEO of 11375. And we are so excited to bring you the best and the brightest, and also resources to help you to support your business goals. We are I am super excited because I have what I consider the best seat in the house in terms of having courageous entrepreneurs come on this show to share their real experiences about what it really means to be in this space. As you saw in my video, if you're watching this by video, that the back of my hair, I got the good curls going. Look at it. But also it does require just understanding that this thing that you are creating requires consistency. And it's not always what you see publicized on social media. We don't want to get caught up, and we don't want you to get caught up in things that we know is not an overnight success. And guess what, friends? I'm bringing along an author, right? Let me start with that. Author, a leader in the real estate industry for affordability, but also now one of my friends, right? In terms of supporting one another in the space of being a business. Nadira Taylor is the founder, president, and CEO of Diamond Mine. But not only that, is an author, is a mom, and also is going to pretty much tell us, some tips and resources, because guess what? I got the book, and we're going to talk about it, providing realistic tips for what it means to really be in business and really focusing on your dreams and really providing us with tools and resources as entrepreneurs to get us out of this space. So y'all don't need to see my face that long, but I'm going to welcome Nadira Taylor to the show. Hey, Nadira.
Hey, how are you today, Anita?
What can I say? I am here. I am alive, and it's good to see you.
It's great to see you too.
So, Nadira, I start with, the basic questions about tell the audience who you are, what you do. Let's start there. Real easy starting point.
So, hey everyone, my name is Nadira Taylor. I am the principal broker of Diamond Mine Real Estate. I am the owner of DM Construction, and I am the owner of DMP Property Management. I started Diamond Mine Real Estate 8 years ago to help families and individuals purchase through affordability programs. We started the property management firm to continue that goal, and that was to help renters who are low income live in spaces that felt as if they were fair market tenants. And we also started the construction company because the prices of construction was so high that a lot of the buyers were unable to do necessary repairs because of the price of construction. And at this point, we are still able to give them affordable construction as well.
Wow. Okay, Nadira. So you pretty much have or managing multiple entities
Yeah.
under one umbrella of affordability and providing quality services for those who choose to work with you. How do you manage that?
Um, I would say, I guess, the same way that we would manage helping our friends, so to speak. When you have a goal or something is in you, it's a little bit easier to manage. I just love helping people from being younger and my friends and I getting our first jobs to, just helping like, hey, listen, I want everyone to make six figures. I want to assist you in your life, so to speak. And it's just been pretty easy managing it because this is what I like to do. I love helping people.
And so in your activity to help others, right? You have created a space specifically in real estate and property management that focus on affordability, right? So why did you choose to focus specifically in that space? Like what was your genesis to that?
No one else was doing it. When I purchased my house 13 years ago, I purchased through an affordability program. And although my husband and I, we were making a lot of money, we looked good on paper. Like most minority families, we weren't taught to save and we were spending the money as it was coming. So if it wasn't for this affordability program, we probably wouldn't have gotten a house, especially not then, because neither one of us were in households where saving was key. And there's a lot of people that are like that. And in order for you to, I guess, break your own generational curses, once you figure out how to do that, I do feel that we have a fiduciary responsibility to help other people, so to speak, to come back for the community and everyone else. So as I'm going through the program, I'm learning different things. I'm also bringing that back to my friends, bringing it back to my family or my communities, so to speak. So I believe that that's why that has happened. I've been in property management since I was about 21, 22 years old. Always managed rent stabilized buildings that were owned by different cultures than the people who lived in it. And because the people look like me, I wanted to help them a little bit more without letting go of the goal of my job. They still had to pay rent, they still had to take care of the apartment. But why aren't, just delving a little bit deeper, why aren't they paying rent? They are professional tenants, but let's look at everything as a whole. You can't expect people to act like they're on Fifth Avenue if their building looks nothing near Fifth Avenue.
So for those who are not aware, could you distinguish what property management actually entails?
So for me, we manage buildings 10 units and more. What property management entails is not just collecting rent. Everyone thinks that a property management company, they collect rent and they send out leases. They handle maintenance calls. They listen to people. Someone, yes, people do have a hard time with rent. Okay. So you're not able to pay your rent for 3 months, but guess what? By law, New York State law, if you don't pay your rent for 2 months, I'm allowed to put you into legal. So if you are having a hard time, maybe you have to restructure your budget to where you only miss 1 month. But by the time you miss that second month, this is what it is that I have to do. And tenants are taught to manipulate the system based on other tenants, so to speak. And they learn different laws or their interpretation of the laws by the success that someone else won with a different landlord.
Mm.
You get what I'm saying? but landlord tenant courts in Brooklyn might be a little more strict than landlord tenant courts in the Bronx.
Mm,
So these are things that I bring back to, the tenants. And why do you feel that the rent is the last thing that, you should pay? Well, you know what? The hole has been in my kitchen for the last 3 months. There's mice crawling in and out. The exterminator hasn't been here for a while. So once someone starts bringing those things up, then at that point in time, yes, I did take it back to my boss. And I'm like, hey, listen, you have people living in squalor, but you want them to pay the rent.
mm.
What, how can we meet in the middle? So again, property management is not just collecting rent. Sometimes property management is also being someone's therapist, holding on to the phone for 20 minutes while someone complains about something that has nothing to do with their apartment. But the goal is to make sure that everyone lives comfortably and everyone has the same luxuries as other people.
So let me ask you this question as a follow up. So you have various parts that are happening within this space of real estate. So it's not just property management, it's not just sales, it's not just construction, right? So comma and to the construction piece, right, as a part of your overall business model. Like what does that look like for you? And again, you have like a what I call a full circle or menu of services that you can offer. Construction.
So all of that to me goes hand in hand. Um, if someone is purchasing a house that's affordable to them, 9 times out of 10, the reason why it's so affordable is because it needs some repairs. So in most cases, people can't purchase a house and afford repairs. I remember back in the days, my grandmother had to refinance the house in order for her to redo her kitchen.
Mm,
It's not like that now, but construction is still costly and it's still hefty. And you have people who want a 35% on return as opposed to 10 or 15%. So what we wanted to do was go in and help these homeowners who just, spent their last dime purchasing a home be able to live comfortably. Then as we are taking over buildings, whether managing or purchasing, because we also own a rent stabilized building ourselves, uh, oftentimes there's a lot more maintenance that is required. The buildings are or were neglected. So the only way to get an owner to make those repairs is to have a good contractor with affordable rates.
mm.
So that's when the construction came in hand also. And now that we are doing in apartment repairs successfully, or doing exterior on buildings, why not jump into the commercial construction as well now that we have the experience?
And so, Nadira, you are a full, whole entrepreneur, full and whole, right? Then on the comma and, excuse me, we have the book, Dream, Catch, Hustle, right?
Yeah.
Which, so for those who are wondering how I know Nadira, we had the opportunity to meet one another in a business accelerator that we all became connected as business owners and discovered that I was sitting next to an author, right? Something that I aspired to become one day. And I was like, she out here keeping secrets. Like, what is what is happening here? So I got the book, and in my downtime, which I made it a priority to read it, caught some good gems in here. So may we unpack this, Nadira?
Yes.
Okay. So chapter one. I'm not going to go through the whole book
Okay.
because I want you all to really understand that the success of a business owner is consistency. And in chapter one, Nadira talked about identifying what you do, what you want to do, right? And then, as a quote, success in life starts when you catch the dream, hustle for it until it's there. Elaborate. Excuse me.
So that's actually part of that's the name, right? Dream catch hustle. And it's like first you dream it and then you catch it. So when I say catch it, that means that you're putting all the pieces together. And then once you have exactly what it is that you want to do, now you have to hustle it. Things just don't come easy. I know that Instagram shows you that, if you get an LLC on Wednesday, you can have all of this stuff by Sunday, and that's not the case. Uh, you have to hustle it. You get what I'm saying? And we grew up thinking that hustling was bad because we're looking at hustlers in the street, or just hustling is bad. But hustling is not bad. Hustling is a mind state, and how you apply it is up to you. So when you're in your entrepreneurship and you're in your business, you're making sure that it goes from A to Z. And the only one who could bring it to that point fully is you. And then you go back in and you start getting employees and things like that to help you propel you a little bit faster.
So you mean to tell me, Nadira, that I got this LLC, within the state of New York, it's a different beast, by the way, side note. Um, and that I'm not making no bread, like real bread, that I can have, all the bags, the houses, and all the stuff that I'm saying by Saturday. You said by Sunday. I'm saying Saturday.
Yeah, no, that's not gonna happen.
Okay. So let's go into chapter 3 because I'm just skipping a bit, right?
Okay.
Because again, determine your end game. Having an end game allows you to focus on the big picture while taking the steps to get there. What do you mean by that?
All right. So everyone wants to start a business, right? Since COVID, that's pretty much has been the gist of everyone. Like you have to have a business, start an LLC. So what I mean by that, okay, you want to start a business, but what do you want to do with it? You need to determine what your end game is so that you can get to that point. There's different ways to structure a business, and there's different things. So do you want to be a solopreneur? You get what I'm saying? So if you're going to be a solopreneur, then that means that there's no employees. Everything is just you. So you may have different systems in place. You may have a lot more apps than everyone else. You may have virtual assistants because you're doing this by yourself, but the work still needs to get done. Do you want to leave this to your family? That's something that you have to take into consideration as well. My oldest daughter is into real estate. My youngest one is not. So if you are building this and you're leaving it to family, is this something that your family wants to do? So these are conversations that you need to have with them. Are you looking to IPO your business at some point in time? Are you looking to build a brand that can be sold? You need to find out what your end game is so that while you're hustling, you're doing it the right way and you're not hustling backwards.
Okay. So, a couple of gems. I'll start with the last one. Hustling backwards, right? So for those who may not understand that term, would you please go in depth? What do you mean by hustling backwards?
Hustling backwards is someone who is putting the work in, but they're pretty much still their own worst enemy. They don't know where they're going. They're making a lot of unnecessary mistakes because they didn't put anything in place. Even just writing down your ideas and the direction that you want to go in will propel you forward. But without doing that, it's like you're all over the place and you're not really going anywhere. Or in some cases, maybe financially, you're moving backwards because there's no structure. So that's hustling backwards. You're not moving forward. You're either stagnant or you are falling behind.
Which you gave me the assistance. So we're going to talk about spending habits as a business owner. When you're first starting, a lot of times I tell people all the time when I first started my business, I wasn't getting money. I wasn't getting paid. I didn't even pay myself. I didn't really understand, what that entailed. But I did have this knowledge that I had to separate church and state, my business from my personal. So I did that because I just have experience in that. But You talked about something very specific on page 36, which is, highlights your spending habits. For example, I don't really need a physical space. I have, a space where I can meet, but I don't need to pay rent or own a physical commercial space because that's not a part of my short-term needs, or it hasn't been for my needs. So what you advise is, if you don't need the space, don't buy it. Don't
Right.
use it. Don't have it. Use the money for specific needs to help you to grow your business. Why do you think as entrepreneurs we fall into that pitfall like immediately? I need a building. Yes, it is, you get equity in it if you own it, but it looks a lot different if you're a service-based business and you don't need it.
I think because that's what we were taught.
Mm,
We either rode by, walked by local businesses, and when we worked in a physical location. Now that technology is more prominent, you can definitely work from home. You can do WeWorks, but we were taught the bigger the better. And again, in social media, we're competing with each other's social media success. It's
mm,
not even like we're competing with people's actual success. Like, oh, you and I, we do the same thing, and this is, and we're running neck and neck. We're competing against the same jobs. Oftentimes people who are in the same field on social media aren't even competing for the same clients. They're competing for the same attention. And when you look at your spending habits, a lot of spending habits are based on um, who you're competing with on social media. So there's been a few times when, and don't get me wrong, I love the shoes, the bags, the furs, like that's all me. Before entrepreneurship, after entrepreneur, it's like that's just me. But there's been several times when I had to take a year and a half hiatus and not purchase anything. 2023 was that year.
mm,
You get what I'm saying? And it's like I really had to look at what's going to bring home the success of the business versus what's going to bring home my Instagram success, and were the like which one was more financially fit for me. So instead of buying a new bag, some shoes or whatever in 2023, I saved money so that I can have different a whole IT overhaul, so to speak. We're putting different systems in places. I'm hiring a developer to actually sit down with Diamond Mind, figure out Diamond Mind's needs, and what type of system do I need to put that when it comes to the real estate agents, when it comes to property management, and when it comes to construction. That was more important to me than a new Chanel bag at the time because I couldn't do both.
mm. Okay, so you're
You know,
telling us that we needed to prioritize, some of the things, and also sounds like you decided, to shift your priorities, and have them work for the future, your future
yes.
goals and your future business. And so I appreciate you sharing that. Um, so you also talk about in your book about those who happen to be or have been full-time employees, and then they shift into this space of entrepreneurship. Could you describe, I've experienced it, but could you describe or provide some tips about what that could realistically look
Well, first thing first, you're not getting that check every week or every bi-weekly or however you was getting paid. If you show up, does not mean that you will get paid.
like?
So you either need to plan for that financially, or if you someone like me who just quit, then that means that you need to be prepared. You need to have the stomach for it.
Mm,
Shake out the stuff that was too small for you because you may not eat the way that you was eating before, and you could now fit those clothes again. So that shake your stuff out. Either that or pull out the clothes that was too big because now you eat rice and potatoes to fill you up throughout the day.
right.
Whichever way you want to have it, but and I know I'm making jokes, but that's exactly what it is. The perks that you would get in medical, dental, bonuses, free lunch on Fridays. that just isn't that's not happening anymore. And what you're doing, depending on how you want to structure your company, you're working towards that goal to provide that to now your employees, be it 2 years or 5 years from now.
So I like how you are telling us, giving us again practical tips, because we do have a lot. I mean, I can tell you I am a shoe person still, but also what I've learned to do over the years too, because that thing has not gone away from me, is to create a budget and add in a BS budget for myself to help me to maintain that, oh my gosh, outlet time, or so because every so often for me I still do that for me. And then the realistic part is when I don't do it or I don't use that line item, I just reinvest it either in investment or in another area within my business. But that's just what I've learned to do, because I still I still do. I will admit it, will not lie, will not go. I won't lie to you about it. So back to Nadira's book, right? So I wanted to go into a point in the book where you talk about building systems, right? Or having things like, for your employees or your team members that you work with, because you started to talk about health insurance, about liability and insurances that you use to cover for your business. A lot of times now, I know you're not an insurance, agent, but it's also one of the things that as business owners that we sometimes forget that we need to have those things protect our business, workers comp, things like that. And you go into depth about the importance of having those things connected to your overall growth and planning within your business. Could you just give us a tip as to why, you will put it in a book, but you also know that it's important for yourself, the business?
Sure. So, for example, I don't have New York State required 11 employees in order for me to have an HR person.
Hmm.
But there are still HR issues that I struggle with because I do have W-2 employees. So, depending on the type of insurance you have, there's a hotline that you can call and ask questions for free because it's covered in your insurance.
Hmm.
I also found out that by having a relationship too with an insurance broker, the way that I interpret things, we feel that if someone goes and files for unemployment, if you had to let them go, that it was the end of the world for you. And that's not true. What was explained to me was as long as you don't have like 6, 7 people in 1 year filing for unemployment, you are okay. Things happen, life happens. 5 or 6 people filing for unemployment in 1 year means that it may not be the employees, it may be you as an issue. But there are certain things that are covered by insurances that we don't know about. If someone comes and you say, well, I like that shirt, but you didn't notice the shirt was a little bit sheer. And now this person is saying, oh, they sexually harassed me. They sexually assaulted me. So forget the fact that they shouldn't have wore a sheer shirt to begin with. But at the same time, these are things that are happening. And what I notice is that in my experience, people tend to take down the little guy before they'll take down the big guy. So you need to be covered in all aspects. What type of liability do you have? What's your exposure? And it is important for you to have insurances. Your insurance, it's like car insurance. You don't pay for insurance after you get into the car accident. You have the insurance just in case you get into a car accident. So you have these insurances, not thinking that something's going to happen to you, but just in case you need it.
Hmm. Yeah, I hear that? It's for preparation. Preparation is a part of our business plan. Um, Finally, Nadira, but not the end. You talked about paying your taxes. Like now, in the portion that I'm reading was specific about accurate tax filing, right? Because we all know what happened during the PPP era, where we didn't have no money, no employees, nothing. So we wasn't able to capitalize on that specific program.
Yes.
I'm going to do a comment in and I'm going to let you take it over.
Okay. So a lot of people were paying their employees off the books so that they wouldn't pay taxes. And if you're an ethical person like myself, now that you're paying them off the books, you were too scared to go and file for a PPP loan, right? So you couldn't take advantage of what was going on. And not that we're suggesting that there's going to be other catastrophes or anything else, but if we get a president that says, you know what, whoever paid $50,000 in taxes, we're going to give you back $50,000.
That's
You,
good
you
money.
get what I'm saying? It's
Money.
just being in a, like, one, doing what's right, but being in a position to get whatever may come your way that is good. That's number one. Then number two, a lot of entrepreneurs, because they don't want to pay the taxes, they claim 30,000 so that they can pay the least. Okay, so you net 30,000. I don't care if you grossed a million, but you net 30,000. You will not be able to get a lease, a commercial lease, when you are ready to grow, because in most cases you have to make 40 times the rent. You will not be able to purchase property unless you're doing a bank statement loan, which is at a higher interest rate with more money down, 20%. There's just so many other things that you won't be able to take advantage of because you don't want to pay your taxes. So pay your taxes or you end up like Trump.
Or pay your taxes, or just pay your taxes, because what we are doing as business owners, we are helping to provide jobs and
Yes.
resources within the community. We want to stay in the community and not be in state greens or orange. So please be mindful of, why I asked Nadira to highlight that, primarily because it's just important for your overall learning, business growth, and acumen, knowledge base, right? If you have the awareness about your taxes and how you can understand tax strategy. Now, Nadira is not a tax accountant. I am not a tax accountant. We're not insurance brokers, but we do have business experience that we are sharing to help you close your knowledge gap. So, Nadira, when is the book tour? I know she's gonna be like, when's the book tour?
I hope soon. You're gonna help me with the book tour, right?
I am gonna help Nadira with the book tour, but I want to encourage you all. This is um I don't want to encourage short reading, because I know when I say short, but so I'm back again. I got through this in a day, and it was something that was very informative and useful for those who are just starting out as businesses. So, Nadira, tell us where we can find you. I'm going to pop it in on the screen so that you can see where we can find Nadira and all her awesomeness, and also give us some practical tips.
Sure. So you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Diamond Mine RE, Diamond like the stone, Mine MINE, and RE short for real estate. Personal page is only one Nadira. It's only one of me. And just some tips that I have for business owners. One, get a mentor. There's a lot of people who do not want, I guess, to share their spaces with you, but there are more people who do. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If you don't know something and you feel someone else has that knowledge, ask them. Try your best to get everything from in here to on paper, so that this way you can go back and review it as you grow. Oh, I forgot to do this. And now that I'm doing that, this is actually in line. This will help me do this. Put all of your things on paper. I'm still, some people prefer to type it up or whatever. I'm still black and white. I also do a to-do list, and I love colors. So I will highlight as I complete my to-do list to make sure that I'm staying focused. But most importantly, figure out what you want your end game to be so that you can walk, run, and propel your business to meet those goals. and no hustling backwards.
And no hustling backwards.
Yes.
No hustling. I'm gonna write that down.
And one thing I will add too, if you can, when you do begin making money, even if your first check is $500, try your best to save anywhere from 15 to 25%. That's something that I did not do. I wish that I did, and I do it now. And I save it in a separate business account just in case I now want to make any future purchases. We have another catastrophe or whatever the case is. And what you can do is just take it out immediately. Don't let it sit there where you look at it and you start spending it. Take it out immediately, put it in the other account.
All right, Nadira, this is awesome.
Thank you. I'm so
Um,
glad that you had me.
I'm so glad that you took my call and my email and said yes. Because I know that we're all busy in building these dreams. But Nadira, I'm not gonna let you go just yet. Just yet.
What happened?
Quick one. Quick questions. What's your favorite borough?
Queens. Queens get the money. Even though my family's from Harlem, Queens get the money.
Wow. Okay. Love you anyway. Brooklyn in the building. Queens in the building. Nadira, what in 3 years, Diamond Mine, where is that going? What is that going to look like in 3 years?
Hmm. I can't even front. I've thought about this, pondered on it, and in 3 years, I hope to do at least 100 million in transactions per year, and that's across all three platforms. I hope to have a non for profit so that I can help the community even more than what I do. But my goal is 100 million in transactions per year, and to build each business to hold at least 10 to 15 employees each. My goal is definitely and always has been coming back for the community. And if I can grow the business to employ as many people as I can, I will.
And the truth is, Nadira is already doing that. That's the truth. And so I want you all to check out Nadira um, on her Instagram page, and also check her out at Diamond Mine ERRE.com. Don't forget, check her out, support, and also get the book.
It's
The
on
book
Amazon.
on Amazon. The book. The book. We're not promoting Amazon. We're promoting Nadira Taylor in her book. So, Nadira, thank you.
Thank you.
And
I love you and appreciate you.
I love you and appreciate you too. So, shout out to cohort 40XL. Woo woo. Look at me being ridiculous. That's what I do. Love you, Nadira. Look forward to checking you out and seeing you soon.
I'll see you soon.
All right, take good care.
Thanks, you too.
So, hey, y'all, we are back. I want to just share some really phenomenal tips. Check this out. Nadira said, get a mentor. Do not be afraid to ask questions. Make sure you document the processes within your business. No hustling backwards. And make sure you save a percentage of your sales to help you to grow your business. Check this out. Nadira is on Instagram at the one and only Nadira. She's the only Nadira, so don't be liking and spamming and following other people. That's not Nadira. DiamondMineRE.com. Check her out there at her business. But also, thank you so much for joining us on the real journey of the entrepreneurship. Like, share, follow us at 11375.com. We do still accept phone calls, so please do not hesitate to reach out to us there as well. So I am sure that you enjoyed this conversation just as much as I have. But guess what? On to the next one. Have a good day, and thank you for joining the real journey of entrepreneurship. This week, I'm thinking about how dope it is to be in business for myself. Self-employment, business ownership, entrepreneurship, all that good stuff. And why I chose to be in that space. Actually, it wasn't my choice. It was something that I was forced into. But as I'm here in this space, I really think it's dope because I am creating things that I imagine, things that I write on a piece of paper, but it also helps to create, after the number of failures, a real boost of confidence that I have the ability to take something off of a piece of paper, take something that I typed in my phone, and then create it. Your mind is your biggest flex. Welcome to 11375. My name is Anita Pierce, and I am your Chief Experience Officer. At 11375, we offer strategic alignment solutions specific to you and your business goals, and also connecting everything with social impact. So if you are looking for a really amazing organization where we help you to focus your strategy and connecting it with social impact, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We are on all the social platforms, and you can contact us at 11375.